As a Indo-Canadian, this is a great deal of concern for all of us as community. I mean, we all know, India and Canada have been not on good terms for long now because of certain issues which probably, they are not able to reach consensus on or take action on. But whatever has happened in last few days, that nobody expected that to go to that length. It's very disturbing for us as community members, as Indo-Canadians who are always working towards building bridges between the two countries. I mean, both are, vibrant democracies, and we all expect these countries to work together. There is, no better time for Canadians to be working very closely with India, seeing whatever is happening in India in terms of economic development, the where economy is going, and what is the situation of economy in Canada. So we, as concerned Canadians, Indo-Canadians, our only wish and desire is that, we work closely with India for Canadians to be able to utilize or, take benefit from all the opportunities India presents at the moment. So in terms of that, it's very disturbing for us. We see the whole relationship going in, southward direction. And plus, there are also other issues which we are really concerned about. All these extremist elements, the open threats they've been giving to anybody who talks positive about India, or all the Hindu community, like Hindus go back to India, Hindus have no, they should not stay in Canada. I mean, like, it's not that only these extremist elements are, Canadians. I mean, we all are Canadians. We've given our life, we've given our years, our best years of our life to Canada, to build Canada. So it's actually very, very disturbing for all of us here.
Uh, you talk about the kind of threat that the Indians are getting from these extremists. There are about 3.7 million people, the Indian people from Indian origin living in Canada. So, what do you, how do they see the kind of things happening between the two countries?
No, there are about 2 million Indians at the moment in Canada out of 38, 40 million population. So it's a considerable number of Indians living here. And, Indians, as I said earlier, Indians have made some very positive contributions to Canadian fabric, Canadian society. They are an integral part of Canada. So, and whatever these elements are, these elements who are always trying to derail the relationship, they are not too many, but they are very vocal, right? And plus, because they are very vocal and, they have kind of, I mean, I'm not hesitant to say that they have kind of infiltrated into the policy, the government and all these places. So they always try to dictate, bully, and make politicians feel that if they are not on their side, they won't get the votes. So which is a concerning situation. It's more like trying to appease. I don't think so. Canada as a country is ideology of extremism, or Canada is a beautiful country, great country. That is the reason people from all over the world want to come live here, raise their families here. So Canada is a beautiful place, beautiful country. But like, looks like, these extreme elements have kind of taken over, the major decision making, or they have been a big influence on government. So that is the reason, we feel, they can do whatever they want to do. I mean, like, on the pretext of freedom of expression or freedom of speech. I mean, freedom of expression does not mean that, you should bully others, or you should create hatred amongst communities, or, promote hate speech, or, violent crime against others. But somehow, I think government has failed to act on these elements, and these elements have been, feeling encouraged. They've been becoming more and more aggressive. Like, I don't know if you guys saw this guy from SFJ, whosoever he is. He recently, like 2 days ago, same day, probably the day Prime Minister Trudeau gave that statement in Parliament, he actually issued a video where he is openly threatening Hindus to go back to India. and accusing them to siding with India. I mean, like, we are not siding with India or Canada. We are equally passionate about India as we are with Canada. I mean, like, if India is our motherland, Canada is our homeland. So our loyalty is towards both, I would say, equally, and more towards Canada as such, because we live here. But that doesn't mean that, we need to say yes to every wrong thing they say or they do. I mean, like, we all know and understand that, countries should solve their problems amicably on diplomatic tables, not in parliament or not in public. I mean, looks like it's more like a political stunt, or, again, trying to appease a certain section more than anything else. But that is not how, all these international issues should be handled. I mean, I'm not an expert or a political person, but as a layman, concerned Canadian or a concerned Indo-Canadian, I'm just saying that this way is wrong. How Prime Minister tried to deal with the situation. I mean, like, he was in India, he should have spoken to Indian counterparts, or foreign ministries should speak to each other. I mean, I think every country works closely together to sort out differences or issues, and that is how it should have been, rather than throwing it in the public, because that has created issues which I don't know how we will deal with in future, because people who have no understanding on the issue, they think that India did something really wrong, which is probably not right, and they start looking at Indians in a different way. I mean, again, like, as I said earlier, like, India has immensely contributed, Indians have immensely contributed in Canada in many ways, in positive ways. Like, Indian diaspora in general is hardworking, sincere, honest. They pay their taxes. They are very law-abiding citizens. But, like, giving that impression, it's like an offensive statement for us, like, that India acted such in irresponsible way. I mean, we don't know what happened. We don't want to know. This is between the governments to sort out. But, like, the implications it will have long term, and it is also giving encouragement and confidence to other extreme elements that government is on their side, which again is not good. I mean, I'm not even talking about India. It's not good for Canadian society as such.
So the both countries, they are having very good trade relations. I think over $9 billion trade the both countries are doing. So are the Indians also worried about the kind of the businesses that will affect?
Of course. I mean, like, it starts with little things. Like, since 2 days as a foundation, we've been getting a lot of calls, a lot of inquiries, a lot of emails from a lot of people who are supposed to come to Canada for business trips. Like, these advisories issued on both the sides, it creates panic, anxiety, and, uncertainty in minds of people. What's going to happen next? Like, yesterday, I got a call from a person who has a lot of trade with India. He says, I heard there might be trade sanctions also. He's worried about, because he has a lot of goods in transit, and payments and whatnot. So like, international trade between countries can only happen in very conducive and very certain environment. So this particular thing is creating a lot of uncertainty amongst business community, which is not good. I mean, for both the countries. I mean, like, there is a lot of investment from Canada into India. Similarly, Canada is wooing a lot of investment from Indian entrepreneurs to come and invest in Canada. So all these issues will be not good for long-term economic interests of both the countries. I mean, India still is a big country, is self-sufficient. I mean, I am more concerned as a Canadian that, we are a small economy, small country with only 40 million population. So we need to be on the right side with a growing economy like India. So that is our biggest concern. We are already dealing with a lot of economic pressures like inflation, cost of living, shrinking businesses. People are worried. People on the ground are really worried about their economic future. And, whatever opportunities India presents today. I mean, for Canadian businesses, for Indo-Canadians, I mean, we are always looking at India to, expand, to do more stuff with India. I think it's in better and best interest of both the countries and people of both the countries that these two countries remain on a friendly relationship and a cordial relationship, stronger relationship.
Are there any efforts by the Indian community in Canada to force the Canadian government, to have some talks with the government of India and to resolve the issues?
I tell you the major root cause of the problem is that we as community believe in only doing our job. Like we sincerely, honestly do our job, and we don't give importance to being part of the policy making or politics. We just do our stuff, and we are not concerned about others. But there is other, I would say section of people who might be small, but they are very vocal, they are very demanding, and they would, put their influence everywhere. And that is where things are going wrong. I think we as community, uh, you know, Indo-Canadians who believe in, right things, who believe in stronger relationship between the two countries, I think they need to be more actively involved in community, in politics, in advocacy, in everything. Not because there is any, motive, just because that, we can keep things on track between the two countries. I mean, like, we cannot let hooligans or bullies, take lead and dictate how a relationship. I mean, it's so strange that how a small section of people whose ideology nobody agrees with can dictate how a relationship between the two countries would be. I mean, this is a really, unfortunate
Mr.
thing.
Malik, if the things go worse, maybe in future, if so, will the Indians will try to move from Canada, or they will come back to home?
I mean, that's a long shot, and I hope this does not happen, because it's not in interest of both the countries. I mean, as I said earlier, also, Indo-Canadians or Indians have immense contributions in Canada, both in terms of workforce, tax, and business creation, job creation, and whatnot. And it will not be good for them also. It will not be good for Canada. It will not be good for India as well. So we hope that, sanity prevails and both countries, get on the table and try and resolve whatever the issues are, keeping aside appeasement, vote politics on one side, and just seeing what is good in the larger interest of both the countries and the people. I mean, like nobody, like in terms of citizens of both the countries, nobody wants any escalation, nobody wants tensions, nobody wants a relationship to go bad. We all want India and Canada. I mean, for us, it's like, we left our motherland, came here, but our motherland is very dear to us, right? And same is for our homeland, Canada. So we don't want them not to be talking to each other. It's like, a bahu coming to her husband's house and she can't go to her parents. So for us, we would want, these two great countries to work together and sort out all the differences. And again, I said I will only stress that, both countries should keep national interest foremost before trying to appease a certain section of people for votes and whatnot. That should not how, a country should act or country should behave.